G'day team, welcome back. Today's video we're going to be going through doors and windows. I'm going to try and bridge the gap between what you might get taught in university and college and TAFE and what you'd be expected to know in an office. So one big thing which I don't think gets covered enough in tertiary education is doors and windows have very specific set sizes. So it's all good if you try and put in a door or a window and just say it's X high by Y wide. That might not be the same size as the manufacturer that the builder is actually going to put in the house. So it's a good idea to actually know which manufacturer of window, especially windows. Door sizes are a little bit more standardized. Window sizes do vary between different manufacturers. And the point being, check out a window manufacturer's spec sheet, which will have a bunch of different sizes on it. And make a Revit family which has all of those sizes pre-made and have that ready to go in your template. I can't recommend that enough as something to do, because it just saves you so much time. There's nothing worse than going through doing a set of working drawings and then realizing that you need to make like a new 0915, a new 0912, a new 2118. All of these windows, like, that takes time every single time you do it. So if you spend the time making a proper legitimate window family, which you can then just load in and it has all the sizes ready to go, you're punching, you're doing good. All right, first things first, I'll just briefly show you how to read one of these spec sheets. So Bradnam's is I'm in Brisbane in Australia, and these guys are a pretty popular window manufacturer here. So if you go to their website or just Google them, just Google whatever city you're from in the world, window manufacturer, and you should be able to find a manufacturer which will have a PDF which is like the one I'm about to show you. What you want to look for is a sizing page. So you can see here standard sizes Queensland, but that's very relevant to us. And you can see here we've got stud opening and frame size. When you're making the window in Revit, you want to focus on the frame size. The stud opening is more about how much of an opening there needs to be between the studs for the window to be put in. But the actual frame size of the window is what you're going to want to show on the door, or like the door and I say door and window schedules because it's just one of those to builders details things. It just rolls off the tongue. But if you're doing a window schedule, you'll want to have the frame size of the window in that schedule. So it's beyond that, it's relatively easy to read. You've got the height here. So an 06 is 600 high and it's 610 wide. So once we go down, so you've got all the 600, 900, 1000, 1200, 1500. When you start getting to the 1800 high, you can see that they've got a transom in here. And that transom, which is that horizontal member just through here, that's 600 high. And then the sliding part of the window is 1200 high. And it pretty much just tells you this is the configurations that they come in. These are the standard sizes. If you're going to spend the time to make a fully fleshed out window family, you'd go through and make, starting with 0606, then go 0609, 0612, 0615, 0618, etc., 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 until you've got it all done. Do that once, do it right, and you're going to be laughing. So let's actually jump into Revit here, which is what I'm sure you're all here for. I'm not going to keep it as basic as click door button, place door in wall. I'll try and give you a little bit more nuance to this than that. So with a door size, this is a very, very, very standard door size, an 820, which is 820 millimeters. Now that's the size of the actual door panel itself, or the opening, and I think it's also called the reveal. So that is all well and good. how much width either side of an 820 door do you think you need? So I guess a better question would be, if you've got an 820 door at the end of a hallway, how wide do you think that hallway needs to be? And if you said it's kind of like, 850, 900, that's not enough space. To put an 820 door at the end of a hallway like this, I'd want at least 1,000 mil. So centering the door in the hallway itself, that leaves us with 90 mil between the actual leaf of the door or the door panel and the stud. So you can see that the way that these walls are drawn, it's just the stud. So that's 90 mil to the stud, and then if you've got plasterboard lining on that stud, it's going to be even less. It's going to end up being closer to like 80, 75 mil. And that's not a lot of space, really. You've got to get an architrave, which is, if we're just going to be having a quick draw of this, that's that little thing that goes around the door like that. Go and have a look at pretty much any standard internal residential door, and you'll see it's got this trim that goes around the outside of it. So that needs to be considered when you're putting a door in. Point of the story is I like to give about 100 mil either side of the door panel when putting a door in. So you can't just go and put doors in where they don't fit. If this hallway was, I think, 950 or even 900, at that point in the design, I'd say, well, you're either going to have to make the hallway a bit wider, or we're going to have to put a smaller door in. So it's just something that needs to be explored, but it's certainly something that needs to be addressed. I'm going to link the door segment here with the window segment by starting to talk about the heights themselves. So a normal head height in a house would be about 2100 mil, so 210 centimeters, or work that out in feet and inches. A standard door, the actual height of it should only be 2040. So that gives them a little bit of space, like we've done with the hallway, to get a bit of a trim around the top of the door and all of this additional stuff that needs to go inside the framing. It's not, the 2100 would then have the top of the door going just a little bit higher. So if we want it at 2100, the actual door opening itself, or the Revit family, has to be 2040. The next size up would be, if you're doing 2400, that'd be 2340. So 2400 head height would be a 2340 door. With Revit, you're pretty much going to be putting all the doors on floor level. That's pretty stock standard. And you'll see here, head height is 2040, but that's just because that's the way that the door family works. You wouldn't go and change that to 2100 because the sill height is 0 and the level is floor. So that's cool. That works. Head heights do become something that needs to be looked at when putting windows in, though, because the head height of windows is going to change from builder to builder, and it's not necessarily going to be the same in every job, although there will be a standard which you'll generally approach. Say it's going to be 2100 or 2150. Some builders are going to say, oh, we want the head height to be at the underside of the eaves. So if you've got a 2550 ceiling and then you've got a 25 degree roof pitch, that's going to give you about a 2200 eave, or a 2200 head height. But if that doesn't make any sense, don't worry about that, because I'm going to talk in depth about roof construction soon, because roofs are such a huge thing. It's something that is tricky to get your head around, but yeah, very important. But point being, window head heights will vary. When we place a window, so let's say we're going to place as you can see here, I've got an absolute ton of windows pre-made because I don't like doing things twice. And Windows will always take forever to load because Revit is Revit and I'm only using a laptop, and what can you do? Okay, so we're about to place our window. You can see there's some temporary dimensions are showing up either side. Unless you're an absolute maniac, try and center every single window that you put in. That's something that you should look at before you place a window. So you don't just go bleh and just click it in. try and work out, or at least just wait for the numbers to be equal. Like, it's really, really not hard. Just go there, see 990, 990, perfect, click. That's centered. Very good, happy with that. You're not going to get in trouble for putting it in the center of the room, I'll tell you that much. If you want to be doubly sneaky, do a dimension like this. Turn on the EQ thing, and then hide the dimension. That way, if this wall moves, your window is going to recenter as well. But who's got the effort for that? I'm trying to train you to be better than me. So I don't go to the effort of doing that because I'm lazy and useless and full of bad habits. But if you're if you're learning this from the ground up, do that. Great idea. So when we've placed this, it's gone to a default head height of 2400. So that's fine. If this was a 2700 ceiling, that's all good, but it's probably not going to be. It's probably going to be 2400 or 2550 ceiling. So we want to make a head height of 2100. You can change all of the head heights of all the windows at the same time. You can either do a pan select, go filter, check none, and then check all of your windows. And then if they're all, within a reasonable level, the same amount of same kind of family, then you'll be able to change all of your head heights at the same time. Something I probably should have mentioned earlier, but it's a really good idea to find a good window family and then just duplicate that a million times for all of your different manufacturers, because generally you're not going to find a window manufacturer which is going to provide you with pre-made, fully custom for whatever their standard is, window families. So if you find a good one, and I'll put a link for what I believe is a pretty good window family. I don't know if you're going to be able to access the website outside of Australia, but just make an account, sign up for the I think it's called the specifier portal or something like that. Download the RFA, which, as mentioned in a previous video, is the Revit family, and then just grab that, duplicate it, strip all the properties of whatever you want, and then go ham on it. So I'll show you just a little bit about how to modify a window. So depending on which window you end up downloading and using as your base template window, you can see this one here has an absolute ton of parameters. And if we go to edit type, you'll be scrolling for a fair while going through everything in here. There's a fair bit of information, and that's good because that means it's a thoroughly made, very, very parametric family. But that's a double-edged sword, because there'll be a lot of stuff which you'll think, oh, I want to make it so that the windows open outwards, not inwards. Maybe not. We'll see how you go, but that stuff can get tricky. So you might need to find a new window in that case. But so say we've got a 1015 here. Say we want to make it some ridiculous size like 1116. What you do is you go over to duplicate, because these are all type parameters. As we've discussed, a type parameter is going to change every instance of that one particular window. And let's call it 1116 ASW. Okay. So now we have made an 1116, and it's going to take a while. So I'm just going to shut up and probably pause the video so you don't have to wait so long. Okay. So you can see construction here. Probably don't need to worry about all of that. Materials and finishes, we don't need to worry about that just yet. I mean, if you're wanting to change the sill material or the glazing or any of that stuff, for that's essentially what's going to be in elevations. But we're not going to worry about that too much for now. So the dimensions, this is kind of the juicy part. So let's say the height of an 1116, and 1116 doesn't exist. I'm totally making this up off the top of my head. If I was going to do this properly, I would refer to the window manufacturer's specs, like in here. But let's just say it's 1125, which is totally ridiculous, and then 1666. We'll go okay. Okay, if we were to change this to 2 millions, go apply and okay. You'll notice that the shape of the window, the amount of mullions essentially in the window, is going to change. So what was as a 2-panel window has now become a 3-panel window. So if we want to have a look at how that looks, cool. As you can see, there are two outside panels, which will probably be sliding inside. So this would be openable, and this would be openable, and this will be fixed. So something else that you'll likely encounter, say you've got the model field, which is showing up in your window schedule, but you need it to say something other than series 504. In order to ungray any of this stuff in the identity data, you go okay, you go up to edit family, and then you settle in while that loads. Now we're going to go up to family types, which is the type parameters in the family. All right, now we're going to scroll down to identity data, which is where that, or the heading that parameter was under, which will generally be right at the bottom. So we've got this here. Now, model series 504. You can see series 504 is between quotation marks. If we want to unlock this field, we'll just delete everything in there, go OK, or press enter. And that's going to have a long think. Now you can see series 504 is unlocked, and then we'll just go apply and OK, and then we're going to load that into our project. And then we'll just say override existing version and its parameter values. Anything in Revit to do with Windows, when you've got a window type which has a lot of different sizes pre-built into it, it takes so long. Like my computer at work, it's a bit of a beast, and going through putting windows in just takes time. It just takes time, man. There's so many little like calculations that Revit has to do with these things. If anyone knows a way to speed up Windows without sacrificing the quality of the family and the amount of types that I need, I'm all ears. But so far it's just been one of those things we've had to put up with. All right, now edit type again. We'll scroll down and you can see series 504 is now unlocked. We can type in whatever we want. Okay, look, I think that kind of just about covers it. What did we discuss? We talked about windows have standard sizes. So you can't just make up a size of a window. Have a look at a local manufacturer of windows and check out what their standard sizes are and run with that, if you haven't been already given a window manufacturer to work with. We know that doors, if we're putting a door in, we have to consider the hardware that goes around the door. You can't just put a door hard up against a wall like this. You can't. If you do that, I'm going to yell at you. When placing a window, we want to try and center it in the room or in the space. You know, if you've got 3 windows, put the first one in the middle and then put the other 2 in equidistant either side of it. It just looks, if it's not in the center, someone's going to notice, and God forbid they build it like that. So we've gone through the placement of windows. We've gone a little bit over head heights. We know what head heights are now. So if someone says that the head height of this window is, it's meant to be 2150, you know what they're talking about with that. Okay, so tons of information in there. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope that whatever you did get out of it is, real life applicable, something that you can actually take with you and implement in an office. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you all soon. Cheers.